Hi everyone. Today we're going to cover network peering in cloud computing. Okay. So what is network uh, in the cloud? We have already seen. So there will be a VNet in Azure cloud, VPCs in AWS and GCP. Okay. So if we have multiple networks like multiple VNets and VPCs in the different cloud, how do we make them communicate? Basically, why do we make the multiple networks to communicate? So there might be a interdependent resources which we need to communicate. For example, you have a production and non-production environment. Okay, so those resources has to communicate for some of the dependencies. So in that particular uh, mode, we will make the networks to communicate. Okay, but the major thing here is we should not use the internet to make the networks to communicate. So that's why we use the peering concept. And also there are multiple ways we can make it communicate. It can be a transit gateways also, but it is comparing to the peering. The transit gateways are slow in the speed, and also the cost is more for that. Okay, that's why we always go with the peering. Okay. And it does not require any internet connectivity. Let's see what is important in Azure VNet peering. See, whatever the concepts that we're gonna see, it is almost equal on all the platforms. Okay, the very important thing here is the two VNet address spaces should not overlap, or it should not be same. That's the major concept that we need to maintain. Okay, so now we'll see what are the important points here. Okay, VNet peering, it can be intra-region or global. As we have seen already, we can communicate with the multiple regions, and also it can be a same regional also. Next, direct network communicate. uh, we can even make the networks communicate directly to each other. We will also see those things into the configurations and the other things right now. And also, the as we have discussed, it uses only the private IP addresses, and also the communications can be controlled over the energies. Though the networks are connected, we can control the traffics over the energies. Okay, and traffic routing and forwarding. We will see what can be forwarded, what cannot be forwarded, and also user defined routes. Okay, so there is something called UDRs. Okay, so this particular user defined rules can control over the communications also. So we'll see all those things when we are performing those connectivities. Okay, the next thing is data transfer costs are there. Intra-region will be a lower cost, and with the global communication it will be more, which means other than the same region will be more. Okay, it is non-transitive, as we have discussed. If network A is paired with network B, and network B is paired with network C, network A and C cannot communicate because it is non-transitive. And the next thing is hub and spoke technology uses this particular pairing vastly, and the gateway pairing will also be possible to make the multiple things communicate at a time, like a star or a mesh. Okay, but the only problem here is, as we have discussed, the cost and the speed. Okay, and limitations and quotas will be like 500 pairings per VNet is the limitation right now, and also security and isolations are in place, though the two networks are peered. It's just a communication, but what is being communicated can always be controlled. Okay, so we'll see the same thing onto the AWS. Okay, so here in the AWS, as we have seen on the VPCs, multiple regions can connect, and also the peering should be there to make it communicated. Okay, the only difference between the Azure and VPC here, basically the limitation is 125, and we have to enable the DNS setup to make the DNS resolved. Okay, while querying anything. And on the GCP, basically there are something called import export policies. If there are any of the policies for the traffic controls, it can also import those policies to next particular VPC by pairing it. So those are all the advantages that which we have. Now we'll see how we'll do it on the portal. Okay. So on the central and south, we have two networks. I would like to connect with peering. So I'll click on one of them. I'll go to peering. Once I go to peering, I'll have to add this. Okay, click add, give some name. So see, resource manager and classic are two type of deployment models. So resource manager is the latest one, classic was the initial one. Okay, most of the classic networks have been already upgraded, but in case if there are any, you can select the classic one. Okay, also you can make the network communicated with the different subscriptions. For example, as I have told you, the non-production production subscriptions are different, and you want to make them communicated, the two networks communicate, then you can even select the different subnets from the list. Okay, and also you can communicate here. Okay, so now let's see. So you have already created pairing. You must set up a PowerShell. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so basically I have connected with the classic, so that's why it was showing as a PowerShell one. So I'll go with the resource manager, which is a new one. Okay, so all the resources which is mine, it is here. Okay, I'll select this one. Basically resource group, whatever it is showing right now, it is the resource group in the bracket. So I'll connect here. Okay, and also the peering name should not be the repeated one, so it has to be unique. Now coming to the peering setups. Okay, when peering setups are there, first thing is allowing the one network to other network to access. That is the default one, that's why we are adding the peering. Next thing is allow test VNet to receive the forwarded traffic from particular test 2. For example, if there is any traffic which has come to test 2, can also be forwarded to test VNet or not. So basically you can just select whatever if it is required. For example, your hub and spoke network, the hub will receive the outer traffic and it has to flow through the spoke. So in such communications you can select, else you don't have to. And also it is the same case with allow the gateways or the route servers. In one of these things are there, then it has to allow those traffics also, and it is the same case with the gateway or a route servers. Okay, right now I don't want to do that. And you have to give a network summary, and it's a local gate network pairing setups, or also it's a vice versa for each. Okay, so now this is for the remote. So whenever you're trying to select these things for it is a remote network, and when you're trying to select these things, it is for the local network, which means you are connecting the particular local one from this network, whether it has to allow or not. From the remote network it is allowed or not. So there are two setups. Okay, you just have to select and select the appropriate options. Both are having the same options. It depends on your hub and spoke communications. You can select and then you can add it. Okay, I'll just have to create here to see it. So now the pairing has been created, and we are able to see the details here. Let's see, it is fully synchronized and connected with the remote network. Okay, so here we will be able to see the details. It will get updated in a while. Since it has been just created, let's see this. Go to address space. Whenever the peering is enabled, there will be a peering name which you have given. It will be available here. So it is saying that it is connected, and the link name is this one. Okay, so when you're trying to perform many of the migrations or the other things, it is very important for you to understand what is a peering, and the setups are available here. Okay, so you can even have the multiple peering setups for the multiple networks. This is all about the Azure. Okay, let's go to AWS. On the AWS, we are looking at the two networks, and let's see, let's connect a peering. So when we see the VPC, we have to just select the peering connections. The peering connections, which one we have to create, we have to click on create peering. Okay, either you can give the name or not, it's on your wish. So I would like to connect the default VPC with the test VPC 2. Okay, now you just have to create connection here, and the connection has been enabled, but the connection pending is yet to be accepted. Okay, now you have to click on action, accept the request. Okay, now it will show you all the details whatever it is given here, and click connect. Now once you accepting that particular connection, the status is active. What you can do is you can create a specific particular one resource here, and maybe virtual machine and the second virtual machine on the other network, and you try to ping each other with, and you have to enable the ICMP for that. Okay, basically ICMP will be disabled, you have to do that. So this is all about the AWS. Now let's go to the VPC on the GCP cloud. Okay, so we do have two networks here. Let's connect each other. Now I'll just click on this VPC of a test VPC, create the VPC peering, add the peering. Okay, just give some name, and again, so VPC peering, it can be connecting to other networks also. So if we look at the VPC peering, if you want to enable one more, you see this, right? Now here you can select another account also on the AWS. For example, now again you have non-production production accounts different on the resourcing side. Then you can select, you can give that account ID here, and also the different region here to give that region. Okay, select the region here and you give the VPC ID, it will get connected. So in that case it was not the case. It was on the same account and the same region on the AWS for the testing purpose. That's why I have created direct one. Here also you can decide which project that you want to connect with, and then you just have to give the VPC network here. So I would like to go with the default connectivity, and here this is very important. You can exchange the IPv4 custom routes which are available between the networks, and also you can import export the subnet routes here. Okay, so I'd like to go with the default option. I'd like to create. So now when we are trying to create it, okay, it is also saying that it is inactive status. Okay, what you have to do, you have to go to the network which you are trying to connect, okay, and go to VPC peering. Now add the peering with VPC2, right? So now you connect. It says active peering. Okay, so now the in this one the only difference here is on the AWS we were supposed to accept it. On the GCP we have to go to the peer network, the target network, and then we have to do the setups. So this is all about the peering. When it is coming to the communication of different resources on different environments, this will become a key part. Also, sometimes whenever there is a specific troubleshooting part, somebody says immediately they will raise a P1 ticket saying that yes, till yesterday it was happening. For example, patching. So patching has been done on XYZ date, and then the things were not. Things were working before the patching or any of the network activity, but then after that it is not working. The very important thing is to have the knowledge about the peering when the environment is stable, and also once whenever you are trying to perform any activity, you have to make sure that these details has to be captured. Okay, so that's all about the peering on different platforms. And thank you so much. You can subscribe my channel. Also I do have a Facebook and then Instagram pages, you can just follow it. So I'll be giving you details on the description for all these pages. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.